This week we are discussing the T100 some more.
Yeah, is it exciting? Have they missed a trick?
And Red Bull has a new athlete, a notable new athlete.
Some new bikes.
Winter triathlon.
Yeah, it's time for the GTN show. All right, kicking off with things we've spotted on social media, things just generally going on in the world of triathlon, and kicking off with some pretty big news from Red Bull.
Well, definitely big news for him. Sam Ledler has signed with Red Bull. Not really surprising. Very young world champion, and Red Bull do like snapping up the world champions. So he's signing a pretty exciting sponsorship. We know how Red Bull athletes go. Obviously, they've got Lucy Charles-Barkley and Christian Blumenfeld already their athletes. So pretty big news for Sam Ledler. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, we'll be seeing him plastered in Red Bull wings, I'm sure, all over his helmet.
He'll be wearing a Red Bull hat all the time, 24/7 from now on.
All right, moving on. The Podium 5K, which is renowned for being a super fast 5K, has attracted some top-level athletes over the years. It's the event that you may remember Beth Potter setting a British/world record 5K on the road many years ago. I think it was 3 years ago, maybe during COVID. And then it retracted because of some legalities around the course distance and stuff. Anyway, moving on. This year, we've got some big names back.
Yeah, they haven't said everyone who's going to be racing, but some big names are already there. One of them being triathlete Alex Yee, who's up for a fast 5K, Olympic gold and silver medalist. Also, Jake Whiteman is on that list, 1,500 meter world champion. So that's going to be interesting. And then an ultra runner who you wouldn't actually think would be competitive against those speedsters, but he's got a 5K PB of 13:41.
Yeah.
So Tom Evans is also going to be there, and a few others. It's definitely going to be an exciting 5K to watch.
Yeah, definitely. So might be reporting back on that one next week. Emma Pallett-Brown has been at 10K in London and set a very impressive time, 32:33.
Yeah. Well done, PB there. So she's obviously in good form going into the season. That is, she won the race, of course, the London Winter Triathlon Series. On the men's side, Jonathan Davies won. We should say that too, in a 28:46.
Pretty good going.
Pretty sharpish.
And finally, and I thought this one was quite cool. Have you ever heard of Canny Triathlon?
I've heard of Canny Cross, where you run cross country with your dog, right?
Yeah, well, same sort of thing, but imagine swimming with your dog, jumping out onto the bike with your dog, and then finishing with a run. I mean, pretty phenomenal. I'd be a little bit worried about my dog. He's not so keen on swimming and gets a bit freaked out by bikes. Fine on the run, though.
My dog loves swimming, but he's very slow in the swim. Like slower than me, even in the swim. He would struggle.
Oh,
yeah. And then the bike. Well, it just looks hairy, doesn't it? You've got these long leads with dogs dashing all over the place, and dogs are going to go places where bikes can't necessarily go, which is,
The guy is flying along.
He made it round, yeah. He's just, very, very impressive. I don't think I'll be trying that anytime soon.
I don't know. I think maybe one for the future of our channel.
Let's try Canny Cross first.
Okay, yeah, good idea.
Okay, on to your Tri news. And last week we spoke about the rebranding of Super League Triathlon to Super Tri. You have to say it like that, Super Tri. And Super Tri is also putting on the E-World Championships for Triathlon, which used to be the Arena Games and now called the E-Triathlon World Championships. They've now announced the date for that, and it's going to be the 13th of April in London. Obviously, it's all in an arena, hence the previous name. It's going to be quite an interesting concept. Obviously, the entrants are put forward by their federations, so you can't choose to enter. You have to be put into the World Championships. Very limited spots available for that, so I'm not sure how they're going to choose their teams.
But then also, they've left it fairly last minute, so
they might be selecting their teams or saying,
maybe you should just nominate yourself.
Anyway, that's going to be happening. They have 2 heats and then a final. The 2 heats are swim, bike, run in the arena with a short gap in between. And then obviously the final is actually 9 disciplines. So it's 3 triathlons, swim, bike, run, and then bike, swim, run, bike, swim, and then the final is a pursuit start where they obviously depend on your times. For the first 2, you do a swim, bike, run again. It's very fast and exciting racing, obviously done through Zwift. You're doing it on treadmills and you're doing it on turbos and obviously swimming in the pool in front of them. Very exciting to watch. But yeah, as Mark says, very short notice, and I don't know who's going to be in sublime form for such a short distance race with the Olympics coming up and everything else. Everyone's getting ready for literally Olympic distance, and now they're going to jump into the super sprint distances.
I mean, There is $7,500 up for grabs for first place, which is, sizable.
Yeah.
It's not huge, but it's sizable, so you will get some people cherry picking it, I'm sure, and going for it. It will potentially suit some athletes over others, but yeah, it is last minute, isn't it?
It is part of a bigger ecosystem, though, too, that we have to remember that they are talking about this kind of esports getting into the Olympic Games in the future and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's exciting to see triathlon as part of that. We'll definitely be watching. Maybe we'll even head to London and watch it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, moving on. And still more news coming out with T100 series from PTO and their next event over in California.
Yeah, they've taken over a pretty iconic one, the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon, which has been around for many, many years. And yeah, as I say, iconic. Jumping off a ferry into swim away from Alcatraz to the beach and then doing the bike and run. They're not exactly going to do the original course. That original course will still happen. The PTO have taken over the entire event and they will run the age group event as usual. But they're also doing the T100 leg for that month in San Francisco. And that is obviously over their 100-kilometer distance.
So this is obviously still staying on the same date, the 8th, 9th of June. But it does beg the question around taking over the iconic Escape from Alcatraz and then just doing an ordinary out and back kind of course.
Well, yeah, it's the T100, so they're trying to make it 100 Ks, which
of course,
you see they've kind of committed to this 100 K. And we're questioning whether they should have. Why? If they're going to take over the Escape from Alcatraz, this iconic triathlon, why not make the pros race the iconic distance, race the original one? In fact, that got us thinking that maybe they missed a trick on the whole series, that they could do this kind of thing.
Now, I'm going to come in here and just a little caveat, because obviously we're not shooting the PTO down on the T100 series, because we're actually really excited about it and we think this is a fantastic thing for the sport. But as we have mentioned in some previous shows, there is so much going on in the world of triathlon now, and it's very hard to keep track of it all or get excited about everything. Now, with the WTCS series, I used to be very excited about it when we had this whole World Cup format with the World Championships at the end, as I discussed a few weeks back. And every course was different. You had Madrid with its hills and you had Hamburg, you had Kitzbühel, and it was so exciting. Every race was so different. Now, you can kind of watch every event and not really realise where they are in the world, because it's kind of like 5 laps on the bike, out and backs, little fast turns and stuff, and onto the run.
And 4 laps on the run, And if you didn't notice the cobblestones so you knew they were in Hamburg, you wouldn't know what city they were in. It is a bit of a problem for World Triathlon, and obviously playing devil's advocate here, like we're excited about this, but we don't want them to fall into the same trap. The T100 to be, they're the same. We can't really tell what city they're in. They're racing 4 laps on the bike of 25 Ks, and they're racing 4 laps on the run, and it's the same everywhere you go, and it's flat and it's fast and great.
So imagine if one round was Escape from Alcatraz. The next round was Alpe d'Huez Triathlon. The next one was Roth. I mean,
full distance, and then you go to St. Anthony's in Olympic distance, and then a couple of T100s to finish the series. By the end of that, you would 100% know that was the best non-drafting triathlete in the world, if they've done well across all of those distances. One like a really hilly one like Alpe d'Huez in there, a long distance like Roth, you've got Olympic distance. I mean, that would. And then
Norseman. No, sorry,
now you're getting silly. Yeah, it'd be really exciting, because you would be building up to specific races and going, well, this one's really going to suit them because of the rough swim, and this one's going to suit them because of the hills on the bike, and etc. And really a whole lot more permutations.
And also, and as we have kind of seen with the Ironman World Championships going to Nice, that's a whole different topic, but it's driven technology and people to kind of think of ideas and how to win that race. And that would happen again for this sort of series. If you went to all these different locations, Alpe d'Huez, maybe TT bikes have been stripped down, super lightweight, all this sort of stuff. But currently, everyone's just going to turn up on the same kit. It's not really driving innovation, because they're all kind of the same course.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we're just being greedy, though. Maybe you disagree with us entirely, and we are being greedy. That we're looking a gift horse in the mouth of the T100, which is awesome for triathlon, really exciting, and it's going to be great. But it could be greater.
Before we finish off, let's talk about the Escape from Alcatraz course, because this is something that's kind of gone around in the media this past week, and it's interesting. A lot of people jumping on and go, "Whoa, this course looks crazy." Yeah, so would you like to explain what's actually happening?
Well, there were some amateur sleuths who had looked at the the signs outside of San Francisco where they have the course, and there were signs on the lampposts that showed that these roads will be closed, and it was like this comb shape and it was put on by the T100. The PTO will be closing the roads for this, so it will kind of leak that PTO might be involved in the event. And they were looking at that and going, but look at the course. They're going to go up this road and then up this road
Basically
and then up this road.
drawing an asterisk on the bike course.
Clearly that was the road closures and not the actual course. The course will go down the bottom. The roads will be closed at the top, and you can't go down any of the interleading roads. I mean, clearly.
Okay, well, we cleared that one up. But yeah. And now for What the Tech. And we've got some new bikes.
It's that time of year, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The pro cyclists are out for their first time trials of the season, and the triathletes are watching very closely.
All right, so first off, Cervelo P5. And this was actually spotted on the Visma Lisa bike. What a name.
Lisa bike, yeah.
Visma Lisa bike.
Got to get used to the new names for the new season more.
Anyway, it's just spotted at the Volta Algarve.
Yeah, new P5, although it's only tweaks, really. I mean, it's not like a whole brand new bike. There are noticeable things different with it, but it's not a whole new
I guess
bike.
that says a lot about the bike in the first place. It's a pretty solid
Nothing
bike.
they need to fix. It does have a decreased width or depth of the nose cone, like it doesn't. And then by the seat tube, it kind of curves down a little bit, which is a slightly different look. I guess that would be how you tell the new one with the old one apart most easily.
Very subtle.
Yeah, it looks like it might have a bit more tire clearance for those.
That does seem to be a bit of a trend coming through now aerodynamically. Like the forks are a wider stance, seat stays are a wider stance, and then they've got more clearance between the down tube tire and the seat tube and the tire.
Obviously, also allows for bigger tires, which is the whole industry is going towards wider tires. Interesting. Interesting. We haven't obviously got our hands on it or seen it up close, and even these images are like snapped during the race. No one's got their hands on it, so time will tell. There was another new one though, wasn't there? And this one's more interesting, I think. Decathlon's time trial.
So this is spotted in stage 2 of the UAE Tour, and it's the Van Rysel TT bike. Now, I believe we actually mentioned this at the end of last year, around November. They started to kind of release images of it. It's still not actually on the Decathlon website, and I'm eager to find out how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
I think the road bike came in around 8,000, so it's maybe not the traditional Decathlon prices that we're used to, but it does look like a pretty good TT bike. It actually has some similarities, if I will, to the Canyon Speedmax.
Ooh, wow. Bold putting that out there. I mean, yeah.
For a moment, I actually thought it was the Canyon Speedmax just rebranded with some subtle changes.
Yeah,
So.
I did ask this in November. When do you think you're going to see a pro triathlete on a decathlon? That'd be a pretty sweet sponsorship because then they can give you a card and you can go get everything else you need.
Well, and also their Kip Run brand, the running brand, has carbon shoes with elite
now.
runners. Like some of the top runners are wearing their shoes. So hey, watch your space. Yeah. And finally, I don't know how you say it, Fluidian. Fluidian? I don't know. Anyway, roll with it. So this company does real-time measurement of the River Seine and the water quality. So obviously in the gear up and lead up to the Olympic Games, they are monitoring that water quality 24/7.
Yeah, basically previously they had to go down to the river, take a vial of water, take it off to the lab to check what the bacteria content was, how safe the water was, and then obviously when they got the results, you could say, okay, no swimming. And now they've got this live measurement on various spots along the river where they can tell immediately that the bacteria levels are getting too high and they can cancel water sports, etc.
Which actually happened in August of last year because they had the World Cup swimming event and they had to cancel it because of the water quality due to this.
And which they assure us will not happen in the Paris Olympic Games that's coming up later this year. They've cleaned it all up and it definitely won't happen. But you do worry that, now someone's going to flush their toilet and it's going to go, red alert, just down the river and they're going to cancel the whole triathlon. Fingers crossed that's not the case. And they can use this information to make sure the river is clean come the Olympic Games. Okay, now it's time for your race news. And it's not winter and no triathlon everywhere in the world. Down under, they're having some triathlons. They had their Husky Ultimate Triathlon, which is traditionally quite a big event in Australia. It was won by Radka Karlefeld on the women's side ahead of Chloe Hartnett and Demi Birch in third.
Yep, on the men's side it was won by Henrik Gush, Tim van Berkel in second and Nicholas Free in third.
Yep. And then we also had the Winter Triathlon World Championships this past weekend and Duathlon World Championships, which, well, it's a bit niche, but I would like to do it at some point. Oh yeah, I'd like to give it a try. Anyway, Italy's Franco Passavento took the win in the World Winter Triathlon Championships. He got the better of Hans Christian Tunsvik, who had actually won the duathlon the day before when they swapped places. So he got.
And also, he was the
revenge.
defending champion. So beat the defending champion.
Yeah,
Hans
with
Christian Tunsvik.
and Marek Rushfoss of the Czech Republic came in third.
Over on the women's side, it was Sandra Meierhofer that took the win there, coming over from Xterra Racing. And also, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, in which she's kind of going over to pure mountain bike elite racing as well. Anita Soldati in second, and Julie Maniki in third.
Yeah, Italy taking the win on both the men's and women's there. Interesting. And then we had a World Cup action from Napier, which is quite interesting because Hayden Wild was clearly the favourite to going into that one, and he got beaten by Callum McCluskey there, only by a few seconds. And Hayden did say afterwards that couldn't expect it anymore. He's pretty happy with his race, but he just didn't have the firepower on the swim particularly. In third was Alberto Garcia on the men's side there.
Yeah, over on the women's, Sophie Lynn took the win ahead of Sophie Alden and Olivia Matthias, who I believe they're all over there doing a bit of training at the moment.
And then there's one more triathlon which we should probably mention the results of, just because you don't normally do the America's Cup triathlons, but Gwen Jorgensen won an America's Cup in Cuba this past weekend, which bodes well for her chances of making that American team. She is still attempting to get into the big races, to get the points, to get into the American team for the Olympics. It's been a long journey, but she's not at the end of it yet. Well done to her there. On the men's side, James Edgar from Ireland took the win.
Okay, moving on to take a look through some of the photos and videos that you guys have sent in to us this past month. Obviously, we had Valentine's Day. It's the month of love.
Yeah, so what do you love about triathlon? Oh, Mark's struggling. Oh,
I know, many things. But we are obviously coming to the end of February and into our new month. And this time we're asking you to show us where you train. And ideally, let's leave the pain caves behind. We've had enough of those. And let's move on to the outdoors.
Where you train when the weather's good.
Be that in the mountains, in the Alps, running around apartment blocks, whatever it may be, show us. We'd love to see because, let's be real with this.
Triathlon takes you places. Maybe it's just around your block.
Exactly.
Send us a photo of that. Okay, few more posts for the month of love. From Rolf in Italy, he says, kids love athletes because they never stop following their dreams. There's more to the Norwegian method than intensity control and lactate testing. And he's wearing a Norwegian tri-suit with his kid there.
Oh, he's doing the Elberman. I've heard of this. Apparently it's a really cool event. One for future
Another
GTN
one
maybe.
for the list, yeah.
Very cool. I love that. Next one from Hannah from Al Ain in UAE. She said, as an expat living in the middle distance.
Oh, he's got triathlon in his brain.
middle of the desert. I found my community through triathlon and brought closer while stuck here during a summer in lockdown. My love for these ladies blossomed during long, hot cycle rides through the sand dunes and temperatures well into the 40s. They will be my friends for life, training and competition buddies. Also goes on to say how much she loves GTN, especially Heather. Such an inspiration to female triathletes around the world. We think you are pretty awesome, Heather. If only she was here to hear all of this.
Yeah.
If you ever fancy a desert triathlon or cycle challenge, you'd be welcome anytime. We'll pass that on to Heather.
Next time it's raining, she'll probably be on the plane over to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Next one is from Phil with his Watt Bike Atom, and he says, enjoying the love of training alongside my 8-year-old daughter, who is a huge Lucy Charles Barkley and Emma Pallant Brown fan. She's just got her own Zwift account, and I think I've lost the bike to her. You're not going to get that back, but it's healthy for her.
Next one from Deborah in Scotland. This is what I love about triathlon. Training with my friends and family, and most importantly, my partner, who always supports me no matter what crazy thing I decide to do next. He often joins me on the fun adventures that comes with the training. He never grumbles about any of the time and money spent on triathlon. Wow. On to a winner there. He agreed to be my support runner in the Keltman, and then after running it in a kilt, he proposed to me with a 5.
She sent this in before. It's pretty cool. She's made a whole collage for us. Yeah, pretty cool. Wow. That's something to love about triathlon, for sure. Okay, that brings the month of love to a close. Remember, we're looking for your pictures or videos of where you train. Hopefully it's somewhere scenic and beautiful and we can be jealous of where you train.
But if it's not, don't worry. Send them in too. Photo uploader on screen right now. Description down below.
Say what? All right, we're looking at some of the comments that you guys have put under our videos from the last week. If you haven't seen it already, we took on GTN in the Zwift Games, where we went head-to-head only on cycling challenges, which is a little unfair if you ask me.
But we held our own.
We did our best.
Kind of.
Yeah, we did okay. Anyway, some of the comments were pretty funny. TP said, well done, James. James from GTN for coming sixth. Complete violation from Hank and Connor on the GCN corner for that. Yeah, apparently Hank doesn't know how to say my name yet, so I'll have to go and educate him.
How do you say your name?
Kanama.
I'm joking. I know that, of course, but good to clear that one up. Another one from Detroit M1. Connor giving smack at the beginning and getting beaten by James in every event, and both James and Mark overall is just beautiful to behold. I'd be so embarrassed. Amazing from Ollie though. Well done GTN, holding your own. And then someone else replied, I'd be embarrassed to go for a run after a bike. Nice, after a nice bike ride.
Yeah. Well, this was all in aid of the Zwift Games, which is actually taking part throughout March. It is essentially the Zwift World Championships, where they go different courses, different events. There's a hill climb event, there's a long endurance event, I guess you can call it, and there's a kind of crit race event too, with the pros are going to be racing, and they're going to be going significantly faster than we did, but we took on the GCN crew. If you want to go watch that video, you can go watch it now on our channel. There's also a GCN version, but don't worry about that. They massacre my name and it's just not worth watching. There was one more comment that I found under our videos that I thought was worth putting in, just so we can show that photo of Mark again, because Peter Reck said, that blonde Mark took me off guard. This was on our Going Pro video where we were talking about our previous lives as professional athletes, and Mark had a previous life in more ways than one.
I thought it looked pretty good, to be honest.
I'm going to go there again, aren't we?
Kitchen bleach did me very well.
I've got some kitchen bleach at home, Mark. I'll bring it in tomorrow.
We did have a bit of fun back in uni with our kitchen bleach. There's a few of us with that wild haircut.
Looking good, Mark. You were looking good.
Anyway, that is it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We've got some pretty cool stuff coming up for the channel, because this past week we've been filming a takeover of a triathlon store.
Yeah.
That's right.
How well do you think we ran a triathlon store? I'll give you a clue. Mark nearly burnt it down. Anyway, no more about that until the video comes out. But yeah, it's definitely going to be worth a watch. If you're looking for something to watch right now, as we just said, the Going Pro video, we talk about our own triathlon journeys as pros, but also we talk to Steph Klatzerbach, who is just embarking on her journey as a pro, and it makes for some pretty interesting viewing. If you want to know what the whole world of pro triathlon really looks like, head over and watch that now.
Or you just want to see more of me with blonde hair.
Nobody really wants to see that now.
True.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.